It's before dawn in ancient Rome. The sky is just beginning to lighten. Soft hues of rose and grey spreading above rows of terracotta rooftops. Your breath comes lightly as you rise from your simple straw mattress. The bedding beneath you is coarse, thick woolen blankets, hand-woven, patched in places. The insula creaks. From above come quiet footsteps. From below, the distant sound of coals being stirred, the low murmur of someone beginning a fire, the whisper of shutters opening. You stand, bare feet touching rough wood or cold stone floor, feeling the chill that lingers in morning air. In your small room, one chamber shared perhaps with family, maybe children or aging parents, the walls are thin. You smell damp earth, wood smoke, the faint odor of yesterday's cooking. Light is minimal, perhaps a sliver through a small window or opening onto a courtyard. You dress, a simple tunic, wool or linen depending on the season, patched from earlier wear. Your sandals, leather straps, the soles worn from many days walking, are laced tight. You adjust the fabric across your shoulder, pull the tunic just so, knowing how even small comfort matters. Now, you step outside. The hallway of your insula is narrow, smells of dust, soot, perhaps a hint of stale urine. Neighbors are stirring. A woman stirring a pot, a child's soft cry. You carry a clay jug to fetch water, clay warm from sitting in the night, handle rough under your palm. Walking through dim streets, the world is quiet, mist over paving stones. A distant fountain's drip. The first light glints on wet stone, perhaps from dew or from last night's rain. Birds begin to call softly. Elsewhere in upper windows, lamps are extinguished. Smoke twists upward. At the public fountain, you pause. Water in stone basin, cool and slightly smelly. You cup water in both hands, splash your face. The sound is sharp. You fill the jug, balancing it as you turn. The weight is familiar. Back home, breakfast awaits. Coarse bread, baked in a neighborhood bakery, darker, denser, perhaps dipped in water or thin wine. If fortunate, a few olives, a small piece of cheese. Sometimes dried figs or raisins, not often, but pleasing. You chew slowly, tasting the grain's chew and rough texture, the tang of olive oil, the slight bite of cheese. Enough to ease hunger until you can eat again. As light increases, the city awakens. Doors open, stall cloths are lifted, smoke rises from hearths. Vendor voices drift in, the baker calling pain, someone selling fruit or vegetables. You step outside again into the morning light that warms your skin and begin your walk toward the place you'll work today. The streets are growing busy now. The light has turned golden, slipping between tall buildings, casting long shadows. You step carefully. The road is uneven, worn by cartwheels, patched with stone and dirt. Here and there lie puddles from last night's rain. Ahead, you hear the rattle of a cart. Wooden wheels groaning, pulled by a mule. A man calls out to make way. The smell of hay and animal sweat mixes with the smell of bread baking. As you walk toward the forum or marketplace, you pass a shrine at the corner, its little altar flickering with a small flame. Someone has left a sprig of laurel, a few drops of wine. You nod briefly, as most do, and continue. The market is alive. You step into a square where stalls are being opened. Fabric awnings rolled up, baskets of produce set out. The air is filled with fresh smells. Onions, herbs, fish from the river, fresh bread, figs, and even the salty scent of olives spilling from a jar. Vendors call softly, advertising their goods. Figs, fresh figs. Olives from Campania. Bread still warm. You pause to buy a loaf, or perhaps only to breathe in the warm smell. The baker's hands are dusted with flour. You trade a coin, tuck the bread under your arm. There are other sights, a group of boys running, laughing as they kick a stuffed leather ball, an elderly woman haggling over cabbage, a man leading a goat through the crowd. When you have what you need, perhaps a bit of grain, a measure of oil, you leave the market and head toward your work. Today, perhaps you labor at a construction site, hauling bricks, mixing mortar. Or you might be a shop assistant, keeping watch as goods are weighed and measured. If you are a craftsman, perhaps you smooth wood with a plane, shaping furniture. The work is physical, steady. The sound of hammering and chiseling fills the air. Stone dust rises, tickling your nose. Sweat gathers as the sun climbs. There are moments of rest, leaning on a tool, sipping water, sharing a joke with a fellow worker. Time moves slowly here, measured by the warmth on your skin, the ringing of hammers, the voices around you. The sun is climbing higher now, and the stones underfoot grow warm. By midday, the marketplace has quieted slightly, though some vendors remain, sitting lazily in the shade of their stalls. Work slows, too. The air feels heavier, and you pause to wipe sweat from your brow with the edge of your tunic. It is time for prandium, the midday meal. You sit with others near a shaded wall, away from the bright sun. Your lunch is simple, carried from home or bought fresh. Bread broken into smaller pieces, perhaps dipped in oil or thin wine. If you were lucky at the market, there might be a few olives, a slice of cheese, or a bit of salted fish wrapped in cloth. You eat slowly, letting the quiet stretch out. A few others sit nearby, talking softly, sharing what they have. Someone passes around a small handful of dates, sweet, sticky, and a welcome treat. The scent of grilled meat drifts from a nearby papina, one of the small cookshops, serving hot food. You hear the sizzling of pans, the laughter of men drinking watered wine inside. When your meal is done, you rest for a short while. Perhaps you lie back against the wall, closing your eyes, listening to the muted sound of carts rolling past, dogs barking distantly, someone singing faintly in a nearby courtyard. The city seems to pause with you, caught between the bustle of the morning and the work yet to come. The rest is brief. Soon you stand, brush off dust, and return to your labor. The sun is at its peak now, casting short shadows. The work continues, steady and rhythmic, lifting, carrying, shaping. The heat presses down on you, sweat trickling, clothes clinging to your skin. Yet there is something reassuring in this rhythm. The scrape of tools, the cadence of voices calling instructions, the shared effort of many hands working together. The day stretches on, but the angle of the sun begins to change. The harsh brightness of midday softens. Shadows lengthen on the ground. Work slows as laborers wipe dust from their arms, finish the last tasks of the day, and put away tools. The air smells of warm stone, sweat, and wood smoke beginning to rise as evening fires are lit. You head now toward the thermae, the public baths, a place where plebeians and patricians alike come to wash away the day's dust. The bathhouse stands wide and inviting, its arched doorway welcoming all who can spare the entry fee. A single coin, affordable even to common workers. You step inside. The air changes immediately. Cooler, shaded, carrying the sound of dripping water, the echo of footsteps on stone. First you pass through the apoditerium, the changing room. You undress and leave your tunic and sandals with an attendant who keeps watch over the baskets. The stone floor feels cool against your bare feet. You step into the tepidarium, the warm room, where heat rises gently and steam clings to your skin. The sound is hushed here. Quiet murmurs splashing. You sit on a smooth bench, letting warmth sink into your muscles. Next comes the caldarium, the hot bath, where steam thickens and your skin glistens. You ladle water over your shoulders, washing away dust, feeling it trickle down your back. Then, when you are ready, you step into the frigidarium, the cold plunge, and gasp as icy water closes over you, refreshing and shocking after the heat. Clean and refreshed, you dry yourself, redress, and step back out into the open air. The city smells different now. The dust washed from your skin makes every scent sharper. Baking bread, roasting meat, herbs from a cookshop. Evening has come. People crowd the streets, heading home or to taverns, calling out to friends. Children laugh as they chase one another through alleys. The sky is streaked with gold and rose as you return home. The heat of the day fades, replaced by a softer, cooler air. Lanterns are being lit in doorways. Smoke curls upward from cooking fires, carrying the rich smells of evening meals, herbs, onions, meat sizzling. Tonight's scene is simple but satisfying. You sit with your family or companions on low stools, eating from shared dishes. The meal begins with a bit of bread and perhaps a handful of olives. A pot of pulse, a porridge made from spelt or barley, simmers over the fire. It is flavored with herbs, sometimes beans, occasionally a little cheese or bits of meat if the budget allows. A neighbor stops by, bringing a small jug of watered wine. Cups are filled. The conversation is light, sharing news of the day, gossip about who was seen in the forum, or complaints about rising prices at the market. Outside, the neighborhood is lively. Children's laughter carries through the streets. A flute plays somewhere nearby, its notes rising and falling gently. Vendors pass by calling out their wares: roasted nuts, warm bread, cheap wine. You finish your meal, wiping the last crumbs of bread from the bowl. If there is time, you might step outside again, joining others on the steps or in the street. The air smells of oil lamps and cool stone. Conversations turn softer as the sky deepens to indigo. Some men stroll to a nearby taberna, a small tavern, to drink or play dice. You hear the clatter of knucklebones on a wooden table, the low hum of argument and laughter. But for you, the day is nearly done. You linger outside, enjoying the cooler air, the way the city seems to exhale after a long day. Night settles slowly over Rome. The last glow of sunset fades behind the rooftops, and the streets grow darker. Oil lamps flicker in doorways, their warm light dancing on stone walls. You make your way back through the narrow alleyways, stepping carefully where the stones are uneven. The sounds of the city are quieter now. Fewer carts, only the occasional call of a late vendor or the distant rumble of a wagon heading toward the forum. At your doorway, you pause and look up. The stars are visible above the dark outline of the insular rooftops. A thin curl of smoke escapes from a chimney nearby, carrying the smell of burnt olive wood. Inside, the room is dim, lit by a small oil lamp. The light is soft, golden, casting long shadows. You remove your sandals and set them aside. The floor feels cool under your feet. Your family settles in for the night. Someone hums softly, perhaps a lullaby for a child. The sounds of neighbors through the thin walls grow still. Somewhere far away, a dog barks once and is silent. You lie down on your straw mattress, pulling the coarse blanket over yourself. The day's dust is gone, your body tired but clean, your stomach comfortably full. The lamp is extinguished. Darkness settles fully now, broken only by moonlight slipping through the window. You close your eyes. The city sleeps. The great hum of Rome has fallen quiet, waiting for tomorrow's dawn. When carts will rattle again, when vendors will call, and when life will begin once more. Though the city quiets, Rome never sleeps completely. Somewhere far off, you hear the echo of a watchman's footsteps. The night air is cooler, sweetened by the faint smell of blooming flowers from a nearby courtyard. Lying still, your thoughts drift over the day. You picture the market stalls, the sound of coins clinking, the crack of a whip urging a mule forward. You remember the feeling of the warm bath water, the shock of the cold plunge, the way it left your skin tingling. The city beyond your room continues its subtle rhythm. Occasionally, a voice calls, someone saying goodnight to a neighbor, and you imagine their silhouette passing under a lamplight. You think about tomorrow, the tasks ahead, the bread you will buy, the water you must fetch. It is a simple rhythm, repeated day after day, but there is comfort in its familiarity. You remember the festivals that come at certain times of year, the Saturnalia, when masters and slaves trade places for a day, or the Lupercalia, when youths run through the streets in celebration. These thoughts make you smile faintly in the dark. There are other days too, market days, when the forum fills with people from the countryside, bringing grain, cheese, and livestock. You can picture the bustle, the chatter, the bright clothing of visitors, the senators in their togas walking with measured steps. Even now, far into the evening, the forum is not entirely empty. A few figures walk under torchlight, their voices echoing between columns. The marble feels cool beneath their feet. You roll to your side. The sound of a nearby fountain reaches your ears, steady and gentle. Someone passes outside carrying a torch, the The glow briefly lights the cracks under your doorway, then fades. The air smells faintly of oil, smoke, and damp stone. You breathe deeply, letting your chest rise and fall slowly. Perhaps tonight there will be storytelling. You hear faintly through the wall the voice of a neighbor speaking to children, telling some old tale of gods and heroes. The children giggle softly, then fall silent, listening. The stories are familiar, tales of Jupiter hurling thunderbolts, of Hercules performing his labors, of Romulus and Remus nursed by the she-wolf. These are the stories you have heard since childhood, but they still bring comfort. Far off, someone plays a flute, a slow, haunting tune that drifts through the warm night air. The notes rise and fall gently, almost like breathing. You think of the lives of others in this city. Senators in their villas, merchants counting coins by lamplight, slaves cleaning kitchens, bakers preparing dough for tomorrow's bread. Rome is vast, full of countless lives unfolding side by side, all under the same stars. You picture the Colosseum, quiet now, but remembering the roar of the crowd during the last games you attended. The sand of the arena, the glitter of sunlight on shields, the smell of dust and sweat and excitement. Then you think of the temples, tall, beautiful, lined with columns, where incense burns and prayers are whispered even at this hour. Somewhere, a priest is making a small offering, a quiet ritual to keep the gods appeased and the city safe. The room around you grows still. Even the neighbors' voices have faded. Only the occasional creak of the building, the scurrying of a mouse, or the sigh of wind through the shutters remains. Your breathing deepens. Your eyelids grow heavy. Rome outside continues its eternal pulse, but here, in this small room, time seems to pause. You imagine the first light of dawn tomorrow, the familiar sound of the city waking once more, and that thought, rather than stirring you, lulls you towards sleep. The night deepens, the last embers of cooking fires fade to darkness, and the neighborhood grows silent. Inside your small room, the air is cool now, and the blanket feels soft and warm against your skin. The straw mattress rustles slightly as you shift, finding the most comfortable place. Through the open window, the moon casts a pale silver light. Its glow falls across the rough floor, highlighting the edges of a clay jar, the outline of a stool. Shadows stretch long and gentle. Far away, the sound of a guard's horn signals the changing of the watch. The city is never entirely still. A few late wanderers pass by, their footsteps soft on the stone. Somewhere, a dog barks twice, then falls quiet. Above, you hear the faint creak of the upper floor as another family settles for sleep. A child stirs and whimpers, once before being hushed. Then, silence again. Your mind wanders, calm and unhurried. You think of Rome itself, the wide streets, the towering aqueducts, the great Circus Maximus, empty now but filled with memories of cheering crowds. You reflect on the temples, the great temple of Jupiter on the Capitoline Hill, its columns gleaming by moonlight. The temple of Vesta, where the sacred flame is kept burning day and night by the Vestal virgins. Even now, somewhere in the city, a girl tends the flame so it never goes out. You imagine the aqueducts, carrying fresh water from distant hills. The same water that flowed from the fountain you visited earlier now runs silently under moonlit arches outside the city, sustaining millions of lives. You picture the Forum, empty and silent. The statues of great men stand still under the stars, their faces unreadable. The paving stones, warm from the day, slowly release their heat into the cool night air. You think about how many lives, how many footsteps have passed through those streets before you. Farmers, soldiers, senators, children, all moving through this city, just as you did today. This thought comforts you. The feeling that you are part of something much larger, something that has existed long before you and will continue long after. Somewhere, a soft song begins. Perhaps a mother humming to a baby. Perhaps a man singing to himself on a quiet street. The notes drift through the night air like smoke. The scent of olive oil still lingers faintly, mixed with the earthy smell of stone and dust. A cool breeze enters through the window, carrying the faint perfume of herbs from a nearby garden. Your breathing slows. Your body feels heavy, peaceful. The moon moves slowly across the sky, its light shifting in the room. Your eyes grow heavier. You hear, perhaps only in memory, the gentle splash of water at the fountain, the soft clink of tools being put away, the laughter of children running through the streets. All the sounds of the day return, softened, fading away like distant echoes. The day is complete. Rome sleeps, and so do you. Tomorrow, the sun will rise over terracotta roofs. The streets will come alive again. The vendors, the workers, the children. But for now, rest. Breathe. The city is safe. You are home.